Hello everybody, here we are today talking about the Chad Kelly suspension and just getting into that. So before we do that, please make sure to subscribe if you're new to me or the CFL, whatever the case may be. That being said, let's get on into it. So the CFL has handed starting quarterback for the Toronto Argonauts, Chad Kelly, a 9-game suspension, and this is because of a violation of the league's gender-based violence policy, as this kind of stems from an incident where he tried to, quote, initiate romantic connections, end quote, with a former female staff member. This all reportedly started in 2022 and went into 2023, progressively got worse over time, and Chad Kelly is denying that these events took place, and this is where things are going to get really messy because the former staff member is filing a lawsuit against him, and that's going to actual court, whereas the league ended up doing a third-party investigation and found enough where they're confident to give him a half-season suspension and went from there. Now, 3 Down Nation put out an article talking about how this is probably going to be a minimum 9-game suspension, and it could go even further as Kelly ends up having to pass multiple tests put in by the league, where he has to go through, some courses and talk to a therapist, things like that, in order to even go out there and step out on the field. But the reality is that you're looking at right now is there is potential that Kelly was harassing a coworker for 2 years and nothing was done. Now, whether or not that involves the Argonauts, they're saying no from what I'm hearing and what I'm reading, but we're probably going to find out more and more over time. But this is why he's basically being handed this 9-game suspension. Now, how exactly will this impact the team? It's going to impact the team in a ton of ways. Last year, they ended up going 16-2 with Kelly being 15-1 as a starter. I'm going to bet that they're probably not going to go out there and win as many games as they did in that span. And they lost a lot of pieces in free agency. So not only did they go from 16-2 to losing a lot of guys, they went from 16-2, losing a lot of guys in free agency, to losing their starting quarterback that won them 15 of their 16 games. That's a huge issue. Another big issue is the fact that they play a game in about a month for a regular season game. I think their first game is against BC on the 8th, I want to say. So right there, that's a huge issue. Maybe it was a 9th, but still, you're looking at a team that is going to be relying on their backup quarterback, and that's going to be Cameron Dukes. Dukes has got less than 100 attempts in the CFL, so going to your backup quarterback right away at the start of the year, and your quarterback's not even hurt, kind of a big issue. And with Dukes possibly getting hurt, you're down to finding another quarterback to play, and again, you're seeing a Toronto team that's going to be dealing with a lot of adversity early on in the year. I'm going to be honest, in terms of impact, I would say this is big enough to where I think Toronto is not going to win their division. I don't know if a lot of people would go out there and say that right away, but to lose your quarterback for half the year and have a division that you've won in 2021, 2022, and 2023, with some teams like Ottawa trying to be better, with a team like Montreal winning the Grey Cup last year, you'd have to imagine that the road to get back to the top of the East is going to be difficult. And I think at this point, you can't say that it's done, but it is going to be effectively done at the moment, as I would probably pick them to finish maybe second in the division, as again, all these things are having implications on the team right away, and they haven't even played preseason games or anything like that. So the season not done, but it is having a huge impact for the team, as well as possibly even ticket sales. As for my thoughts, I got to be honest, we are going on the basis of if this is true. Now, if this is true, then you have a serious problem, because Kelly only gets 9 games with this, and he was harassing a coworker. You should not have an environment where a worker ends up being harassed and possibly even going to management talking about these things, and have somebody just run around scot-free continuously doing this for who knows how long. We'll just say a year. That is not something that should fly, and if more comes out of this, I would expect probably Toronto to end up getting rid of his contract and his days in the CFL to be numbered. Now, I know a lot of people say, what if it's not true? What if she's trying to go out there and get attention? 2 things with that. Number 1, we don't really make as much money in the CFL as compared to other leagues, where some people are talking about how, maybe she wants to get some money out of this. He makes more money than most of us probably do, yes, but he is not going out there and being the LeBron James or whoever the top paid basketball player is right now, where they're probably making like 45, 48 million or whatever the case is. He's making under $1 million per year. So the money impact for this doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, and I just don't really see that side of the argument right now. And the second thing is, I don't think Chad Kelly's history is super clean. It's not that squeaky clean record where he's going out there and helping with charity. He's not going out there and rescuing a kitten from out of a tree. He's not picking apples for people that want apples to be picked for them voluntarily. There are some things that I do recall in his NFL days, or maybe even before his NFL days, where there's questions before the draft talking about, with him being selected, with, what was it, like the final pick in the draft, where there was a little bit of concern about that and things didn't really work out in Denver. So not even saying at the moment that is 100% guaranteed true, but I would lean that it's probably more likely true than it is untrue, because again, financial aspect, it's not really there compared to other leagues. And then you have a player that is far from being a saint, where he's just always at home with his wife and his kids, and he's cleaning the pool and making sure that the lawn is freshly mowed at a perfect angle. So there's that. But yes, the Toronto Argonauts are going to have an impact here, and we're going to see how this all develops. Let me know your thoughts on this situation. Also, please make sure to like this video if you found it informational. Subscribe if you're new. Everybody stay safe and have a great night.